Hi there, this is Victor Pross speaking. Today I wanted to talk a little bit, toss some ideas out in regards to the family and state. The family and state, or the family and government. There definitely is in my view, a connection, a parallel, which might seem odd to a lot of people to think that way. But basically, when it comes to the state, we do tend to look at the state as some kind of overlord. It is, in a lot of senses, but we tend to look at it as that way. And sometimes usually in a positive way. It's not necessarily pejorative when I say we look at the state as an overlord. We look at it as a stern parent, a stern but loving parent, and it all begins with the family. Okay, now basically, why I say that is because our first introduction to ethics, to the concept of ethics, or facsimile of, and our first introduction into the world to authority comes from the family. Our parents are these tall overlords who we tend to think, in the beginning at least, are wise and benevolent. They're like these giant figures walking about, and they seem to know what they're doing. They're stern, they loving, they're chastising, they're embracing, they feed us, they give us all types of goodies, and that is the paradigm that we're born into. So, as we move along, we tend to shift away from that. I mean, they still have their grip over us, their psychological grip, to various degrees, and depending upon the individual involved, of course. But by and large, though, they still have a very strong psychological grip on us. And but nevertheless, there seems to be a transfer point, though. There is a transfer point that our first introduction to ethics and authoritarianism and all things good, we shift that to the state. And you can see once again, language always gives you away. Language always gives you away. Just like we recognize that when we go about casting our votes for our next overlord leader, we look for the lesser evil, or we designate government as a necessary evil. And the key word here is that we're tapping into something, at least implicitly or subconsciously, that it's evil. So it's not some kind of anarchist propaganda. We know where it's at, all of us. I'm convinced of that. So when we shift over to the state as our overlord, like I say, the language gives us away. That's why you've had phrases like referring to Nazi Germany as the fatherland, or the motherland, if it's Russia, I think. And it's very interesting how even religious conservatives are very big on the family, the family, the family. That's no accident. That's no accident. Because they're trying to tap into that soft spot, that vulnerable spot, exalting the family, and it's usually done within a political or religious format too. So, and so there's a reason for that. So we tend to look at the government as a wise overlord. They're looking out for our best interest. See, the hilarious thing here is that when we are kids, most definitely we are completely and utterly dependent upon our parents. We are. They are actually out there in the working world producing the goods that enables them to feed us, clothe us, get us all types of goodies, shelter. Yeah, there's a cop. But certainly when it comes to the government, the government is nothing more than a freaking parasite. It's like this large cancer growing on the side of an actual productive, self-sufficient, independent population. And that's the tragedy in that transfer of going from one to the other. Look at our introduction into ethics. Our whole introduction into ethics is because I said so. That's why. And that's the same way it is with the government too. It's because we said so. That's why we have the guns. We have the power. And just like parents have the power. They don't have guns, but they have power. They know that you're wholly dependent upon them until a certain age, of course. So that's the type of power that they hold over you. But the power of the state is the power of guns and a constant stream of propaganda. No government can survive without a constant stream of bombardments and propaganda. And that's why they took over the that's why they took the Prussian model of public schooling. You know, it's not for the benefit of the people or the well-being of children. No, you got to sink the fangs into the minds of the young right from the very beginning. It's just like the Jesuit priest said in terms of indoctrinating children into the Catholic religion. You know, just give me that kid for the first 7 years, you can do with them what you want after that. You know, it's got to get them in during that highly receptive, vulnerable mode when their minds are just forming, and get them young. Sink the propaganda fangs in young. So that's the same way that the state works. And parents know this as well. They know that if in child rearing that they have to, if they want to impart any kind of values, you have to start young. So the same goes with the state. So that is the clusterfuck that we're living in. That is the scar tissue that continues on on a hamster wheel type of cycle. And I just wanted to toss those thoughts out and see what you think. And please, feedback is always appropriate and welcomed. Pop goes the culture.